It is close enough to 6 p.m. on June 5th, and I'd like to open the Newfane Selectboard's regular meeting and welcome all of our visitors and VCTV. Does anyone have any additions or corrections to the agenda?
I'd like to change the agenda around and let the state give their presentation, you pronounce that, now, so they don't have to hang around here and listen to the rest of the jabber.
Okay.
You mean we're not entertaining enough?
Could we do it after we approve the minutes? That's coming up right next.
Okay, I don't care.
Okay, it doesn't take very long. Okay,
I have
any
one
second-
item to add to the agenda,
Okay.
which is a report from Green Mountain Power.
Okay,
And I have one question that I'd like to ask on behalf of citizens who've been asking me.
okay. All right, well, we have a request to have this VTrans give their presentation after we approve the minutes of May 15th. We also have a motion to have a report from Green Mountain Power. And when would be the best time to put that on? New business?
We talked about it quite some time ago under old business.
Okay.
So I'd recommend we put it there.
Okay. And when do you think is appropriate time for you to ask your question on this agenda?
Me?
Yeah, that would be new business?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll put that under new business.
Thank you.
And everybody's in agreement for that? Do we need a
Yep.
motion? I don't think so.
Okay.
Do we need a motion? I don't think so. We're all in agreement for that. Okay, thank you very much. And we do need to approve the minutes of May 15th.
Motion to approve minutes of May 15th.
A second?
Okay, any discussion about that? All right, we have a motion to approve the minutes of May 15th and a second. All those in favor of approving that, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, it seems to be, those opposed say no. Any abstentions? All right, we have a movement to approve the minutes. All right, I would now like to welcome Carlson, and who is presenting with her
entourage.
her entourage, who you can probably, it would be also great if you, introduce them, for the Arch Bridge presentation. And can we all just sort of move down so that the audience and VCTV have a clear picture? Yep. Is that good enough?
We have it all set up. Okay, I don't know if you noticed this.
Oh, thank you.
A little better?
I thought I'd better call my ophthalmologist.
Can you see it? Can you see it?
Somehow it's, okay, I somehow.
Maybe
Might
I'll
have to
sit over
get
here.
close to here.
think
Set
it's-
that up.
I think it's-
Yeah, there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good evening. My name is Carolyn Carlson. I'm the senior project manager for this project in Newfane. I brought with me,
I'm Corey Burrell. I'm the project design engineer on the project.
I'm Theron Matthews. I'm a civil engineer on the project.
and I forgot my pointer. We did introductions, so we'll just move on. Okay, so just to give you an idea of what we're quickly going to present to you is that we're going to talk about the project development process, another overview on the project, just to refresh people's memories about the existing conditions, some of the constraints, considerations, what our final design layout and typicals are, how we're gonna maintain traffic during this project, the detour, our project schedule, next steps, and you may ask questions as you want. So I know most everyone should know that we're talking about bridge number 12, the old arch bridge right there at Depot Road. Another slide of that. So just so you know, this is not my first visit here to discuss this project. I've been here before. There have been other people, other engineers, Jennifer Fitch, some other people, I think Corey was here too, where we met with the town to discuss this project. And we're at the point now where we're talking about our final design for this project. We're right here. When I was here before, we were over here. So now we're gonna start getting our permits for the project, finish up our plans, get our right-of-way, and we have some utility relocation involved in this project as well. And once that's all done, we will advertise the project in the future and we'll construct. So let's talk about some of these existing conditions, etc. So just a reminder, it's a class 2 town highway. It's about a 76.5-foot span. It was constructed in 1908 and the town of Newfane does own the bridge. So as we all know, the original arch is in very poor condition. The foundation has matte cracking and efflorescence throughout. The vertical alignment through the project location doesn't meet the current standard that we would design to today. The lane and shoulder width of the bridge and approaches are too narrow for the traffic volume, design speed, and roadway classification. And the existing bridge railing has failed and is too short. There's not any approach railing. So just a reminder of what, looking down on it, what we have. This is heading to Depot Road, heading to Vermont 30, the bridge. We've got Grimes Hill and the Dover Road right here. And we do have some what's considered historic properties. I know that the town doesn't think this is historic, but when our historic people say it's historic, we just say, okay, it's historic. The bridge, of course, is historic, and a lot of these properties here are historic, so we just kind of go with the flow, and it constrains what we can and cannot do. Just another beautiful close-up picture of the arch. You can see the delamination, it's falling apart, the concrete's falling. It's just a reminder as to why we're doing this project, if you didn't already know. Looking underneath, all that is just, it's leaking, and there's a lot of saturation in the concrete itself. And I know that you guys have done some repairs to this. This is an older picture, and they were pretty, the nice repairs. It looks better. So the horizontal alignment is substandard as well, and there's just a lot of work that needs to be done. So we've got some archaeological sensitive areas on the upstream banks, which means that you can't really do a lot of digging. The whole area is historic, as I said before. And another issue that we do have is the existing utilities are pretty much in the way for our project. And there are different property owners in the right of way. So we will be discussing utilities a little bit. And I just love this picture of the old structure. This is just beautiful. Okay. So let's see what we're thinking about and how we went about doing our design. You have the average daily traffic is about 1,600 on the Depot Road, 1,400 on Dover Road, 800 on Grimes Hill, 6% of trucks. Posted speed is 25 miles per hour. Our design speed is 10 miles per hour because it's an intersecting road. We try to do as much work as we can within the town's right of way, but we are going to acquire some rights to construct the project. We'll have historic preservation requirements, utility relocation, and future use consideration. Has to do with the bridge. So we were here, and we made some decisions, and we moved forward with those decisions. So this is just to give you an idea of what our final bridge design is. It's a full bridge replacement with a new reinforced concrete closed mandrel arch. So it's going to be a replicate of what's there. We're shooting for an 80-year design life. It is going to be 28 foot wide and striped for a single lane use, but could accommodate 2 lanes in the future or for emergency situations. So that was what was the consensus from our last visit here in Newfane. We'll have new bridge railing. The existing roads will be wider shoulder widths. We're attempting to improve the intersection of Depot Road, Dover Road, and Grimes Hill Road. We're raising the vertical grade just a little bit at both ends to improve sight distance. There's going to be new traffic signs, and again, those utilities will be relocated. So just to give you an idea what it's going to look like, when we say 28 feet wide, it's 28 feet from the outside to outside of the arch. The railing's about 1 foot wide, and then we're going to have 7 foot shoulder, 7 foot shoulder, and then this 12-foot travel lane in the center of the bridge. And it will be striped to represent that, which means that in the future, the town's going to have to maintain that striping all the time, like probably every year, every other year type thing, depending on the use of the bridge, if you want to keep this way. And your roadway typicals will be 2 10-foot travel lanes and 3-foot shoulders on either side. So this is kind of giving you, this is going to be your new structure. So you can see that, and just don't mind this, this is just a center line for us to, it's not going to be 2 lanes there, it's going to be striped, and we have some pictures for that. This just gives you an idea. It's going to be wider here, comes down, intersects, some stone fill here and there, and the arch is really going to look identical except for the bridge railing. And just to give you an idea, this is just some other structures that have been built. This is from type of railing that we're proposing. There was another slide on this. Okay. So here's our final project layout. So now you can get an idea of what that's going to look like. So coming down from the Depot Road, we come down here. You can see we've striped it so that it's just a single lane, comes across, and then you can go left or right, and vice versa. So we have another slide that's going to show how that whole stop and go is going to work. So this went through a bunch of different iterations about how we want this intersection to work. What is in everyone's best interest, safety-wise. So the final determination is that as you're coming down the Depot Road, there'll be a sign that says 1-lane bridge because it's striped for 1 lane with a yield to oncoming traffic, little flaggies, about right there. So they'll come down, and these people coming in these 2 directions each have a stop now. I don't believe that's the way it is today. So they'll each have a stop. So these people coming in this direction will have the right of way, and they'll come. And then if they're coming, then they would yield to that traffic that's coming this way. So we'll have the 1-lane bridge over here. Some new street signs, and that is what we're proposing. I think that this is one of the biggest issues that we've had with this project is how to try and create what we have now out there as a calming method for people traveling in that area, and I think this is our best effort in that. So this we've showed before, and I know that a lot of you have never seen this before, so we're just going to remember that this is showing a 1-lane bridge. But just to give you an idea of what that will look like when it's all done.
It will be a 1-lane bridge in either case.
In either
but
case.
Technically, this isn't showing the extra width.
Extra width on it is what I wanted to say. But I know some of you have never seen this before, so it just gives you an idea of the traffic flowing. Except they're not stopping right there. This is the existing situation sort of we have now. Our staff member put a lot of it. We presented this before to the town.
Good. It can go on forever.
Yeah.
A lot of traffic.
Yeah, oh yeah, I know. It's during ski season, but we forgot to show this.
Oh,
So this is an example of a finished bridge that has the concrete arch, the railing, just to give you an idea of what that future bridge might look like. It won't be identical, but another example of a finished arch bridge. I think that's the same bridge, but looking through it.
Yep.
So I think the other big issue we have with this particular project is maintaining traffic. So we know the town's already agreed to do a road closure with an off-site detour, that the town is responsible for signing the off-site detour. The traffic's gonna be detoured to the Grimes Hill Road. We say approximately a 20-week bridge closure. We haven't fine-tuned that yet. We have some time to do that. This is such a tight working space that it's gonna be very difficult to build this bridge. So we say 20 weeks, it could be 22, maybe we can get away with 18, who knows? Once we have that, before the project's advertised, we will be sure we know exactly what is gonna happen there. There's also gonna be some very tight site-specific traffic control in place. The only way to build this structure is to make the Grimes Hill Road and the Dover Road technically a one-lane road. Even though we're pushing traffic to Grimes Hill, there's only going to be enough width for one car to go in either direction. So we're going to have signals at each end allowing one-way traffic. And we've got a sketch to show that. So first, the detour. As y'all know, we're saying detouring traffic to Grimes Hill and then back over. And then people coming from the Dover Road will take the Grimes Hill Road and back and around. So this is what I was trying to explain to you, is that here's our bridge site work. And this is Grimes Hill. There'll be a stop sign that says stop here on red. They'll stop. And that will allow the traffic from Dover Road to come down and around and then go up Grimes Hill. And then they'll stop there, and that will allow this traffic to go there. So traffic's gonna be very slow. It's gonna be tight. But if we don't do this, 95% sure that we can't build the project. So it's because we have to excavate all this to take that existing arch out. And that arch comes down very close to this road, and there's a lot of fill on it. So we're gonna get down there and remove that existing concrete arch and go ahead and build it.
so is this going to be timed lights, or are they gonna be on traffic buildup?
It's going to be, usually it's can be done by video camera. It will be set up so that there'll be a detector, like a
Yep.
video detector,
Okay.
and that's how it will go.
Okay.
One side will have that detection. It won't be like, if there's a long line of traffic in one
Mhm.
direction, they're gonna get the chance to go.
Okay.
And the property owner there also will have a signal so that.
Yeah, this property owner
They
up
won't
here
be
is
stuck.
gonna have their own signal to access the road.
Wow.
So right now, just to give you a little bit of an update, we've got a $2.2 million cost associated with this construction, with a 5% town share because you're closing the bridge to through traffic. We said construction duration 8 months, and that is, yes, we'll close it for so many weeks, but there's also outside work that has to be done, that can be done outside that closure period. And there is utility relocation, which I didn't talk about. We'll go back to that after we get done through the estimate,
Would you be able to get us a copy of this PowerPoint, so we've got it for our
yeah,
records?
we'll put it on the SharePoint link site that
Okay.
I've sent stuff to Shannon before.
Yeah,
We'll make
and
sure it's on
That'd be
there.
terrific.
We can link it to our town website.
Yep. So the schedule, which I know that the town of Newfane is excited about. So right now we're looking at, as you know, we had to push this project out due to funding situation. So right now we're looking at a construction schedule of 2021. Final plans next year, about a year from this fall, we'll have final plans. Right away should be complete about the same time that happens. And then there's this flag here, it says bid advertisement August of 2020. So what we want to do is advertise in the fall So it allows the contractor to get everything all set up so that come spring, it's closed, they can get their work done, at spring of the following year. So the other thing is that there's this there's a kind of a 2-year gap here. If for some reason, the way it's set up with these projects that we had to push back because of funding, is that technically they're supposed to be ready to go, like, let's say in early 2019. We still have a couple other processes after this date, but let's say the fall of 2019, those plans should be ready to go if all of a sudden we had some funding and we could push it ahead. I don't think that's gonna happen, but that was the idea behind this. The state funding is very, there's not a lot right now. We're having to push other projects that we were anticipating advertising this year out another year. There's a good chance that might happen. So having a construction date of 2021 is I feel good about that date.
But I know that we would really like to get the schedule compressed or expedited any way we can.
Right now, it's as expedited as I can do. I mean, so what I'm trying to say is that we will have it complete. Like, the project could be advertised like in the spring. It would be advertised like the summer of 2019. So that's gives you, it would be a year earlier than what we anticipated for construction. So instead of being constructed in 2021, possibility in 2020, but that's all based on the funding situation that we have out there. There's not a lot of state dollars to match the federal dollars right now. So this is just the next steps. Really our next step is we are anticipating meeting with the 4 adjacent property owners to this project, talk to them about expectations, what's going to happen during construction, what kind of easements we need to construct the project. That's like that right-of-way process. You've already got your chosen detour route. You're going to complete the final project plans and the contract plans, and then we'll advertise. So before I get to the questions and comments, I just want to go back to a slide that shows I thought we had a slide that showed the utilities. I just want the town to know what might happen. I think the
First one with the stores.
yeah, go back.
That's
Yeah.
in the-
It does.
It's tough
So-
to see. It's that like dashed line that goes straight across.
Right over. So just as let's think about the project site for a minute. We have some existing overheads that actually run adjacent to the bridge. This is the new pole, isn't it?
Where's the pole?
Now the new pole is going behind. That pole will be. I don't know if it's been removed yet or not, but
Right,
the new
so-
pole will be on the other side.
Side.
of the-
So we're gonna have a new pole over here. We're also gonna be putting an anchor over here on that property owner, on that property. So that's, this property owner, the Reddens are gonna be most affected by the utility relocation.
So you'll say aerial all the way across? Is there any chance of going underground through the bridge itself and clean that up? Gives you some lease opportunities in the future for cable routes, et cetera.
I think that's all up to the utility company.
It's all up to the utility company, and they probably, right now, they're not on the town bridge, so better situation for them. That wasn't brought up burying it. I don't know if that is feasible, but I will double check with Larry Wheeler, who's my utility go-to person.
It cleans it up, makes it much more storm-proof.
It does clean it up. I just don't know if it's feasible. So there is gonna be some utility work. And then if it's put onto the town bridge, and if it's, it may be something too, the town has to give permission to the utility to do that as well, but I'll find out for you and see if it's
Okay.
even possible. So I think that is all I had to share. I just wanted to, Shannon said, I had asked Shannon if she wanted me to come and present again since it's been a while, and That's why I'm here, to share where we're at. We haven't been forgotten. I know that sometimes towns think that, you know, when you see something get pushed out like that, construction-wise, that we forgot you, but we haven't forgotten you. But I feel comfortable moving forward now that we have an actual pretty good design and focus, so that, you know, 10 years from now, it's up to the town to make those decisions on how they want to, what they want to do with that bridge. You can always make it 2 lanes in the future. So I'm open to any questions. Can you state your name so that we know?
Right, Ken Esty, here in Newfane. On Grimes and Grimes and Dover Road, you know, that one lane with the traffic lights and such, because you have to, because of that infill you were talking about and digging in, and I mean, do you think, I mean,
We would put, do you think that the road would,
well, I'm just wondering, like, I mean, how narrow will that road get? I mean, how much
It has to
infill
be-
is there?
oh, it has to be, we would require a minimum 11 feet between rail to rail, so that a tractor trailer truck could squeeze, could go through if need be. They'll probably have to put steel sheeting in to support the fill, to support that.
They might also build out a little bit of the road towards the left side of the picture too, just
Yeah.
temporarily.
So that really does suggest a considerable amount of digging right in that location.
Yeah.
You got
And
you got archaeological in there already that you're considering.
The archaeological, a lot of it's right
Yeah.
here, where there was a mill or an old bridge, or right over here. So we're staying as far away from there as possible. We do know, I mean, it's been disturbed because when they built the arch, they dug up everything at that time. So anything that's specifically right there at the bridge, archaeologically wise, it's been damaged if there's anything there. They're more concerned about the fact that this is the oldest concrete arch in the state of Vermont. So that's where the historic significance comes into play.
It's our goal to have it expedited.
I know it's your goal, and you guys have made a great effort by sending letter to the Leahy and Peter Welch, and, you know, it's not the federal end of it right now, it's really the state share. And because you guys are only paying 5%, that means it's 15% for the state share, so that's even a little bit more money than a normal time highway bridge. And I just want to say that we will continue to work on this, so that if all of a sudden I get a letter saying, oh, by the way, Newfane just got all this money to help build its bridge, I can be ready to advertise, so I don't want to hold that up.
I got one question. Chris Williams, Road Commissioner. You have a driveway right tight to the bridge now.
This one right here.
What is gonna happen during construction of that?
So during construction,
The
we're,
person has to be able to
right,
get down
so
there.
I think we're gonna look, we were talking about that just the other day, and we're gonna look at the possibility of building him possibly a temporary access to his drive. Or maybe even a permanent one, we could build something that's better than what he has now, because he isn't, and the other possibility too is that the contractor may be able to, yeah, his house is way down here, so we know this is really close and the contractor's gonna have to be in here to do his work, so we'll probably try to build something that goes around if we can. We'll have to come up with something, and I'll meet with the property owner there, and we'll talk about what is in his best interest, what he would
He'll
like.
talk to you, no problem.
Yeah, he wants a 2-lane bridge there, from my understanding, so.
Yeah, you won't get the land unless you get, doesn't.
I know, see, that's the problem that I have. So you know what happens if I can't get my right of way. Condemnation. Oops, go ahead.
Chris Campany, Wyndham Regional Commission. Can you go back to the slide of the stripes where it shows the striping? With the 2-lane bridge and the added width, do you know to what extent you've improved the turning radius for larger vehicles at the?
At this end,
Yeah.
I believe that we ran,
So we actually widened that radius at the intersection, so it's accommodating more than it did at
Good.
one point in time, so. Whether some trucks will struggle to make that. It's possible.
It's gonna be better than what it was.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's good.
I think our biggest concern is fire apparatus and school buses, because
Yeah.
they don't have the second set of axles.
Right.
That will pivot.
Do they make that turn now?
Sometimes.
Coming from Grimesville towards the Arch Bridge, no.
Okay, so we can look into that. I'm pretty sure we have double checked that they can make that, and they'll be able to drive on the hashed areas, unless for some reason you guys want some sort of bollard or anything like that. But I don't
It's
think
gonna
you
be
do.
a concern for the highway department with plows too, with trucks.
Right, and I think that's why we decided not to do something like that, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, if you wanna keep it this way, you need to be, as far as the maintenance of those stripes, you're gonna have to be on it. Because otherwise, you just let it go, God's my witness down there. People are gonna treat it as two lanes.
We got a guy, a local guy,
Who now?
he's pretty, fairly reasonable, so it shouldn't be a big deal.
So. Any other questions?
Yeah, Deborah Lusky, Williamsville. So I'm wondering, what's gonna happen to the river during construction?
Meaning like your swimming pool?
Well, I'm downstream, so how much debris and,
We have, the contractor is not allowed to throw the concrete into the river. So they have to they will have tarps underneath when they're removing the concrete, so the concrete will go in there. If something does spill in the river, they gotta get that right out. They're very conscientious. We as a state, we're very conscientious about what they do, and they have to follow our specifications with that kind of removal. So the nice thing here is what they're gonna do is they'll go in there and they're gonna most likely remove all the fill that's in there, and then they'll start removing the concrete. They will have to have, like I said, tarps under there, and if you see something that you don't like, we're always gonna have a VTrans resident engineer / inspector on this project. So if all of a sudden you see concrete going in there, they'll have an office trailer somewhere. Contact them and let them know that you saw that, because we can't allow that as well. As far as, let me see. So once they remove the bridge, then they'll start forming up the new arch with, they could end up getting steel forms, or they'll do it with plywood and 2x4s. We don't know, because we don't know who the contractor's gonna be, but they'll keep a clean site during that process, and that will be there, and the concrete, when they pour the concrete, it will all land in that. They have certain regiments that they have to adhere to when it comes to the river. Any other questions?
This is just maybe a question you can take, I don't know who to take it to, or maybe I should just ask Mark Pickering, but, you know, one of the reasons why they had to do the detour during Irene was because of the scouring of the abutment of the Route 30 bridge.
Yes.
And they went back in with some pretty small boulders, as opposed to like the Volkswagen sized boulders. I didn't know if they were ever planning on going back and kind of revisiting that, or if that was more of a temporary fix. Because you would imagine, I mean, it's kind of, there's a constraint there, so it's kind of like a nozzle on a hose. You would expect it, you get a big enough flow again, it's going to happen.
Yeah, and I saw that bridge when it was
Yeah.
during Irene. Can you just write down Vermont 30?
Yep. That's no big road.
I know the
but
bridge you're talking about.
I was curious if that was a permanent fix, or if they ever thought about how to go.
I haven't heard anything if they were planning on going back, but
If you're gonna look into that bridge. you
What
really
bridge?
The Route 30 bridge we were just talking about.
I was just gonna look to see if they were gonna do any future work on it.
Well, the expansion joint of that, north end of that,
Okay,
is really bad. I'm surprised your plow has not smashed into that thing.
okay, so
You can feel it.
I'll check with,
It's even with cars, I mean, it's bad.
Yeah, it is.
okay, we'll check on that too,
Yep.
especially if we're gonna, in the future. They probably are planning on doing something with that joint, but that's a log span structure. So I'll check into that.
Is this one filled with gravel?
Yep.
The old one?
Oh, the new one? Yep. And the new one will be able to carry today's loads. It will be designed for an HL 93 slash, you know, if we're talking 90,000 pounds. We'll be able to carry anything. Just the key to this particular type of structure is your maintenance plan for this bridge. You know, water repellent every, 10 years at minimum, to prevent infiltration of salt going into the concrete, the striping, trying to get underneath the bridge to do the same thing, do some sort of work on the exposed concrete. Any other questions? If you do have any questions, Shannon has my email address. I don't have any cards with me. I was on vacation last week, and today has been one of those days where I've been all over the place, Corey.
I think I have a couple cards I'll leave.
So we'll just leave them here, and you can send Corey an email, and I'd be happy to answer it. So as far as I'm concerned with this project, I'm moving forward with this design, and I plan to contact the property owners in the next couple of weeks to set up our property owner meetings, and we'll let you know about those meetings. So if someone from the town wants to attend those meetings with us, they're welcome to come as well.
That would be great.
Okay. Good. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you
for having us.
Thank you,
You're
Corey.
welcome.
Thank you.
I remember this.
Area.
Okay.
Sorry. That's right.
Chris.
Yeah.
You can have that on my,
Chris called him in. Called him to come outside.
Should we go ahead and move on, or do you want to go ahead and start this, or wait till they finish? Just go for it. Thank you, Corey, very much.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you very much.
Welcome.
Okay.
I gotta check that as Avery.
All right. Thank you for coming and asking those good questions. And it will be, this presentation will be on our website, so that if you have people in your neighborhood who have questions, please direct them to that, and they can watch it from their home television once it gets put on at BCTV. Thank you very much. Okay, moving right along. We have a road foreman and road commissioners report. Todd, you'll have to speak up because you're way in the back.
We can do that.
All right.
As far as the roads go, the heavy rain continues to make it hard for us to shape them up. Most of the roads are in pretty good shape. We are still grading when the sun comes out, which is pretty rare. We've also been cutting dead trees and cutting brush around the intersections. We've had the backhoe out cleaning culverts and ditches. As far as the equipment goes, the 2015 F550's been to Phase 4 in Brattleboro. Had a check engine light on, and it was covered under warranty. We had to replace the batteries in the 2013 Mack, and we bought 2 new front tires for the grader. As far as the New York rate goes, it's ordered. It should be here soon, within the next week or so. As far as the paving goes, remember I mentioned I'd like to use the money up that we had left over from this year for paving. We went and talked to the contractor, see if he would give us an extension on his bid for the Dover Road, Nottawell Road, and he did, which was good news for us. So he's going to be paving Brook Street and Radway Hill with the remaining money that we have for this year. As far as the paving bids themselves go for next year, Shannon has those out to bid. They should be what, June's meeting?
June 19th.
June 19th's meeting. Bandrail on the 2 bridges. Remember the VTrans wrote us a letter stating that they wanted those 2 bridges fixed. We were going to jeopardize our state funding, so we decided to get a hold of Lafayette, and he measured him up last fall. He finally came back this spring. A couple of weeks ago I went out with him, And they are planning on doing both those bridges before July 1st.
Wow.
So that, then when we get those done, we should write a letter back to VTrans to let them know that those 2 bridges are fixed so we don't lose any state funding. Carol asked me to get a price on painting the inside of the town garage, and we got a hold of the guy that's, and can't remember what his name is, this is gonna be painting this town office. He's coming tomorrow or the next day to look at that, see what that's gonna be. Kenny Pond work on the spillway, the retaining wall. I received a letter from Mr. Leap, I believe you guys got that in correspondence tonight, wanting to know when the town is going to finish the work on the wall. He makes it sound like we haven't been doing anything up there, but we did get the trees cut up there, and I met with Mark Pickering from VTrans up there to look at it. We talked about getting clean fill and dumping it over the end of the wall, then sloping it back so that it holds the wall in place, and then we can seat it down, make it look nice. Mark is all for that. He said we needed to get a hold of the dam inspector to make sure that that was okay with him. So I asked Shannon if she'd write Mr. Leap a letter with the things that we've done to that project and ask him if he's got the name and number for the dam inspector. We haven't heard anything back from him yet, but as soon as we do, I'll get a hold of Christopher or somebody and go up there with him, see what we can do up there. There's a bunch of clean fill at the garage that we could use. I'm pretty sure there's some clean fill right there at the site we can use to slope that back. So as far as the job interviews go, I started those. I've got 3 more to go. I've got one guy that didn't fill out the job application, just put in a resume. So that pretty much puts that out. So I've really only got 2 more interviews to do now. So.
Okay.
As far as the employees go, they met with Aflac the other day, representative here. Shannon had the Aflac salesperson come here to discuss any other insurance that the guys might want, or actually not just the guys, it was all the town employees might have wanted. So some of the guys signed up they got a pretty good eye plan now, vision plan. So some of the guys signed up for that, including myself. So that was good. And that is all I have.
Wow, you've been busy, Todd.
I'll try.
Any questions, comments? Nope.
Motion
Todd?
to accept?
Yeah, do we have a motion to accept this report?
I make a motion to accept
Okay,
the
Marion
report.
moves to make a motion. Do we have a second? I'm sorry?
Second.
Okay, Mike seconds. Any discussion? I had just a question, and it's only from my being naive about road work. Clean fill on, you were saying you were thinking about a good idea of putting clean fill down on the slope near Kenny Pond on the other side. When you do that, does that tend to have a higher erosion rate than putting stones or rocks on top?
No, I mean, you could put the clean fill down, then you could put like riprap on top of that.
Yeah.
To help hold it.
So that's what you're gonna do.
I mean, Mike could explain it better than I can, or Christopher probably, they're both in the
Okay.
construction business.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right,
One thing I was wondering about, it has nothing to do with any of the report here, and I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it, it's on the roadside mowing. I was wondering, did you talk like Brookline, they're gonna rent one of them machines this year to, for the arms to mow with and stuff?
That's what somebody said, you called it, they said that. Well, I haven't talked to them.
I was almost wondering if we wouldn't pay to rent one of them for a month and put one guy right on that thing for a month and really put the roads back there.
We talked about getting a tractor for that purpose.
we
didn't
did last year, I think. We discussed that a bit.
Guess that's up to you guys. I don't know if you can rent one now. Usually you have to rent those like a year ahead of time, but from like Tenco or one of those guys, but we can check.
This is a Fairfield. It has that. They had a bunch of them, I was told, so.
Yeah.
I just thought it might pay to look into it, maybe put somebody on it, and that way a lot of these intersections can get really mowed back, you know?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Thank you
Before
very
we
much.
take any bids and set bids on them.
All right, thank you, Todd. And do we, all those in favor of accepting the motion to, for the road whatever this is, the road foreman and the road commissioner's report, please say aye.
Aye.
Any not approving? Okay, any abstentions?
No,
We have one abstention, so it's 4 in favor and 1 abstention from Chris. Thank you very much. Now we're going to be looking at truck bids. Do we have this truck bid? This is, you want to explain this truck a little bit?
That's the one, the truck is gonna replace is the pickup with the utility body on the back. That's a 2011, it's got 100, right now it's got 100, almost 109,000 miles on it.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we have a bid for this truck. It has additional fuel tank question mark.
That's for, we have a 30-gallon fuel tank in the back of the body of the truck. So a lot of times we park the grader alongside the road somewhere, and it's like an auxiliary tank, so that we can take that, fill up the grader without having to keep bringing it back to the garage. So,
Okay. The company name is Summit Chrysler. And it appears that they're bidding 47, is this 47,068? There's only one truck bid?
Looks like it. Is that all you, what are in the envelope?
Those are roadside mowing bids.
So we only
Only one
had
bid?
one truck bid.
One truck bid.
Give that to Chris and Mike and see what they
Chris,
think.
you wanna guys look at that?
Yeah, what are they giving us for our old truck?
Hmm?
Any idea why we've only gotten one bid back?
I don't know.
I got a lot of calls early on, asking about fleet numbers and talked to probably 3 or 4 different dealerships and only one.
It's kinda weird.
I always feel a little queasy about accepting just one bid.
Well, we have the option to go back out. No bids met the requirement. If you choose to go that route, and then request more bids.
Well, how long has it been?
It's been a month already, right?
Yeah,
30 day.
a month. It's been a
What I would
month.
do personally is if, let me see that the next couple of days, make sure it meets the bid.
Yeah.
And if it meets the
Absolutely.
bid, then,
You
I
gotta-
mean, he did what he was supposed to, he got the bid back.
Right,
If it doesn't meet the bid, that'd be give you another reason to put it out to bid, but
yeah.
I think we put, what did we put in the budget, Chris, wasn't it 60,000? So it's well under that.
Okay, do we have to make a motion to give it to Todd to check on before we award it, or?
No, just give it to them.
Yeah, he would normally go over it anyway,
Yeah.
before we awarded anything, so.
I'm sorry?
He would normally go over it anyway, before
Right.
we awarded anything.
So we need to award it?
No,
No.
No.
you would
But-
normally give it to him to review before you would ever
Right.
award it anyway.
Normally what they do is, it's contingent on, if it meets the bid, then I'll email you, Carol, or whatever, and say, you know, everything looks good. So you could, I mean, you could do it a couple ways, table it until the next meeting, or make a motion, if that's what you wanna do, to accept the bid as long as it meets the bid, meets the spec, but
All right, well, we
it's
can,
any way you guys want. I mean, if you don't wanna accept it and put it back out to bid, that's your choice too.
all right, do we have a motion on this, about accepting this bid?
I would make a motion to table till a time certain. So we've got a chance to look at this and see, and see what our options are if we want to go back out for more bids.
Oh, I think I'd do, I'd make the motion more or less that we accept the bid as long as it meets all the specs that Todd had in the truck.
Okay.
Yeah, I like
I
that
mean,
better.
otherwise, like I said,
Yeah.
I might have one bidder, but one bidder.
Yeah.
Right,
I mean, the way
absolutely.
it happens a lot of times, you know, if you
I mean,
keep.
it's not like I didn't hear from any other ones,
Yeah.
and that's the only one
Yeah,
that got it.
it's
I mean, well, this
seems-
person did it on time, he did what you required,
three
and if other
others that-
people don't show up,
Right.
he's,
There were
this
3 others
person
that were
or
interested,
company
but-
shouldn't be penalized.
It's just a little odd for something like a truck. It's pretty much a commodity item, but we only have one
Yeah, it's
bidder.
very surprising to me that we only got one bid coming in.
Well, the last truck, the last small truck that we did, First time we got no bids back. Second time we only got one bid back. Shannon put it out the third time, we got just one bid back. So I don't know what the deal is with it.
Nobody wants to make money well, we have a motion. We have a motion to accept the bid if it meets all requirements by the road foreman and the road commissioner. Do we have a second?
I second.
We also have a motion
I second.
to table till a time certain.
Okay, did you
So
want to
I would need to withdraw that motion.
Okay, do you want me to?
Yeah, I'll withdraw my motion in
Okay,
favor of Mike's.
okay. Do we have a second for Mike's motion?
I'll second. Excuse me.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any, to award the truck if it meets the inspection and the purview of the road commissioner and the road foreman? Do we have any further discussion on that? All right, so it looks like are we ready to vote? So all those in favor of doing what I just said, please say aye.
Aye.
And those who are not in favor, please say no. Those abstaining, okay, it appears to be unanimous, so we will award that bid to.
We can't award it yet. They have to
Once-
review it first.
Once it's reviewed.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to repeat it, do I?
No.
All right. Roadside mowing bids. You wanna? All right, well, you wanna open these and look at those?
Marion's good with a knife.
Leaving?
Yeah. I'll just open it. Save time.
This roadside mowing bid is from Bruce A. Orchard in Chester, Vermont. And you want me to read the whole? Okay. Oh, the hourly rate is $85 per hour, 128.9 miles of road at $85 per mile is $10,956.50. And so that's the total bid. Do you want me to read the details now?
And I have the bid from Beatty Property Maintenance in here in Newfane. Bid for roadside mowing 64 miles of road with sickle bar and boom mower, mowing 2 passes where possible, and overband rail for contract for 2017. Rate would be $8,500. And this comes with a certificate of insurance.
And how many miles?
64.
64 miles, and this is
Well, the other
120.
one's just count one way, the other one's going back and forth, so it's 120
Uh-huh, right.
Okay, so we have 2 separate bids, and it seems like,
The first bid you're over budget on, so.
I'm sorry?
The first bid you're over budget on already, so.
I know. And do you normally get bids that they have 129 miles? They go both ways? Is
Yeah,
that normal?
They all go both directions.
So,
I don't know where he's coming up with these for, but Jake is 64 going one way, so you add another 64 to makes it 128.
so it's the same.
Right.
But why would he just bid one going one way?
I don't know.
Hey, most people know you're gonna go back the other way too, so. They're gonna mow 164 miles of road. Both sides. It's all done, so.
You did a good job last year.
But it's interesting to me that this bid is only for one way, although it doesn't.
Read it again.
Here, take a look. Okay, it says bid for roadside mowing, 64 miles of road with sickle bar and boom mower mowing 2 passes.
Well, then,
Back and forth.
where possible, and over band rail for contract of 2017. If contracted for more than 1 year, or contracted for mowing twice a year, prices can be discussed. It appears to me that Jake Beatty is going to be passing the road up and back.
I don't even want to confuse you on that one, but you can take
No,
however you want. In other words, he's gonna make 2 passes down each side of the road.
Right.
Where he can widen it all out.
Right?
But he is gonna mow both sides of the roads.
That's what
The
it
2
says.
passes, well, 2 passes meant each side he's gonna do it twice.
Like if he's going from Route 30 to Dover, he's gonna do 2 passes on the right-hand side going up, and 2 passes on the left-hand side coming back down. He's gonna cover all the roads. I mean, if you wanted to, you could.
Absolutely. It does sound, and he's only charging us $8,500
Right.
for what this bid is charging us
That guy didn't say nothing
$10,900.
about an over-rail mower either.
No, and he didn't, and he also did not include a certificate of liability insurance.
No, he is saying over the rail mowing.
Where, did you not read it?
Yeah, remember I said, should I read the whole thing? You said no. Over the rail mowing and mowing of the
But that wasn't
landfill
part-
gap.
He didn't even mow half of
Okay.
it.
Jake just said it.
Landfill cap, sorry. Will provide signage, certificates of insurance, WD, and non-employment employee work agreement. Bid includes mowing of landfill cap.
Okay,
Was that part of the spec?
But,
Landfill cap?
yes.
So, do we need clarification on these
I
before we
think
award?
we do.
What do you?
Why? What's
I don't-
the,
Yeah, I mean, I'm just asking.
All right,
No, I mean, Jake,
I know what Jake did on.
Yeah.
right. And then this person,
He's over the budget anyway.
right. Well, that makes it pretty easy then, I suppose.
The budget, I believe, is 9,000. I'd have to look it up. Isn't that what it is, Shannon?
I don't know.
What was
I
the
think it's
budget?
9,000.
I'm not sure.
Do you know what the budget was?
No, it'll be for
Yeah,
next
the
year.
town report, right there, it's in the town report.
yeah, I think it was 9,000.
Michelle,
Normally it's 9,000.
on the bottom. No,
Oh,
there's
here.
a stack on there. Thank you.
Oh, bad back.
Well,
I really like.
okay. Motion to award to Beatty in the amount of 8,500?
Okay, we have a motion to award the mowing contract to Beatty,
Is that the 8,500?
8,500.
Okay.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Mike seconds, and do we have any further discussion on this?
No.
The only thing I would add would be if there was questions about what exactly is being mowed, that we put that in the award letter, that it includes those items. Just so it's
Do we have any
clear
questions
for everyone.
about what we
Oh,
mowed?
Christopher, I guess, or Christopher
fine.
talked,
Yeah.
just talk to him, just let me make sure they're on the same page.
Can you do that?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay. So Christopher's gonna talk to Jake and make sure that everything is covered. All right, good. That sounds great. Do we have, do we second your motion?
Yes, Mike did.
Mike seconded, all right. And do we have any further discussion on this? All right, so, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor of awarding the mowing bid to Jake Beatty Property Maintenance for the sum of $8,500, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone who is against it, say no. It appears that we are unanimous, and the board shall award this bid to Jake Beatty Property Maintenance. I thought you wanted to take a look at it and ask him whatever you need to ask.
I do what it says.
Okay.
I'm all set with it.
All right, okay, that sounds good. All right, administrative assistance report is next. Thank you, Todd.
The interim audit is on the website as you requested. The auditors will be coming back mid-June to work with the treasurer on year-end items. Because it's the first time they've worked together, they're starting a little early just to make sure everything's covered. As Todd already reported, the AFLAC representative was here last week for open enrollment. She signed up new employees and worked with current employees on changes and helped people with outstanding claims that they hadn't gotten money on yet. So, the structures grant for the River Road Bridge has been approved. I'm just waiting for the signature to come, so I should be able to send the bid out next week. And as a result of the letter we got last meeting regarding littering, we designed a poster to hang around town. It is on the website, and I'll be posting it to all the posting places in town as well, and I gave everybody a copy. If you'd like more to distribute, just let me know and I can print some more. And last week I attended an informational session regarding new road maintenance requirements being mandated for the state. They noted that the average is about 50% of the roads that will be affected. Unfortunately for Newfane, after reviewing the map, it looks like about 90% of the roads will be affected by this. It's a fairly long process which will span over, I think final work has to be done in 20 years, so it's not a short process. There are grants available that I'll be applying for, and the first step will be a road inventory being done, which Wyndham Regional Commission will be assisting towns with. So,
Is this going to be starting soon?
it's now.
It is now.
So
Okay.
I think within 2-3 years we have to have our road inventory done. So it's not, rushing, but it's on the radar now. So hopefully we'll all be retired and we don't have to worry about it.
Right, 20 years.
Shannon, did you see you got to think of Wyndham Regional today, right?
Yes, I did.
For the grant?
Yeah.
So,
So I'll be working on a grant that's already available within the next week or so.
Since this is on the interim audit, I don't see it on the agenda, the letter from Melissa regarding.
It's not, it was actually attached to the pay orders a couple meetings ago, but it was missed, and so I attached it again, but I added some yellow highlighter.
Okay, so do we want to go ahead and do this while we're on the administrative assistance report, because it's not on the agenda itself?
Okay.
Okay,
Do
we have a letter.
Do we need to make a motion for that?
Or it could go under correspondence, either way.
Okay.
You want to wait until correspondence? We can do that.
Sure.
Yeah, let's do it under correspondence.
This is called. Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sure, thanks. Yeah, so now to put on my planning commission hat, this road inventory sounds fascinating, and does that have any planning commission implications? In other words, should any of this be factored into our commission's thinking about the report that we're doing for 2018? Because if you're looking at inventory, that sounds...
So basically, it's going to be someone trained in knowing what part of the roads are affected and which aren't. And they'll be driving around with a GPS marking the areas, and eventually it will be a map that they give to us so that we know where we're going to upgrade our roads. So maybe?
I don't think it's a planning commission thing,
It's
as much as it is a select board.
really,
It's just
but
gonna be stone line ditches versus grass ditches and stuff like that.
Okay.
That's what the inventory's all about, where the erosion stuff are. Newfane's got a lot of it because we're built on clay everywhere. There's clay slides all over this town.
so maybe noted in the new
Yeah,
town
it
plan
would be in the
would a
data
good
section.
idea.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well then, I'll make a note of that. I mean, the question is whether those types of designation affect our ability to undertake various, commercial or non-commercial projects, or, does it affect our ability to do things in town? Whatever those things might be, whether it's construction, whether it's flood, because flood resiliency plan is part of our work and so on. So it sounds to me this might have something to do with that.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's why I'm asking, because I don't know.
Sort of is the answer.
The answer is sort of yes.
Well, I don't think you can have too much information because everything is sort of tied together. But
Well, I'll mention it to planning commission.
So what are they doing? They wanna take how many year plan is it?
20.
And they wanna see how much road work they'll be doing within that 20 years?
It all has to get done. It's basically new road standards for only the affected roads, which all of
Well, I was
ours
kinda
are.
thinking about, wasn't it Wilmington ended up something like that, cause they had like a 5-year plan that ended up more than 10 acres of property and it tied it up into Act 250 and all that kind of
That I don't
stuff.
know, but
So I can almost see where this is headed for.
yeah, it's gonna be.
So then anytime you wanna do anything on your road, cause you're gonna have more than 10-acre parcels that will be affected by it, you'll have to go to the state and get Act 250 and stormwater permits and
Right, that's right there.
everything.
Stormwater, that's what they're after.
Yeah.
Do we need any action now?
I don't
This,
think,
just for your information,
Mm-hmm.
the purple areas are the roads in Newfane that are affected. So
I think what the select board needs to do is make another
it's basically
capital.
all purple.
When you're doing your budget, put money into the capital for that, whatever this thing's gonna be. It's gonna be expensive if you start having stone line all the ditches and grass in all the ditches and make catch basins and all the culverts and
Mm-hmm.
so it's something the town should be planning for as far as the capital goes, I think.
there says that there are grants available for this. We would need to, once the inventory is done, then you apply for the grants? Is that
No, you apply for the grants to pay for the road inventory.
to pay for the
Right
road
now it's all in
inventory?
the planning phase, so there's no, actual.
The grant has to be back in by July 1st.
Right, and there are several other grants that towns can apply for, so it's basically helping towns plan for when, work starts. So-
There's a 10% match or 20% match for the
I think
grant.
we may need a special meeting just on this.
Yeah, and not yet, because we're not even close to knowing everything we need to know,
Yeah, you wanna know it as long as you can.
pretty much.
Well,
Let's
this
see
is-
where it's all going right now.
Well, we
When
could
you
always,
afford the graded roads.
we could always table it till the time certain, the first Monday night in June in 20 years.
I like it.
Sure, okay, that sounds great. All right, any more discussion? Thank you very much. Any more questions? Thank you very much, Shannon, for all your hard work. All right, moving on, we have the recycling committee. Johanna?
Well, I think we're here primarily for 2 reasons. We got your, the charge that you gave us, which is to research all possible solutions for recycling in the future, but I think all 3 of us were kind of stunned that we didn't seem to be coming up with an immediate plan for this coming July, and of course now it's so close that we probably couldn't, even if we immediately throw ourselves into it, but we could be thinking about something for the beginning of August or the beginning of September, and so I think I certainly, and I think Tristan as well, and Joan too, would like to urge the board to consider coming up with something to deal with our recycling for as soon as possible. I said this from the beginning that I think we really need a 2-pronged approach, one of them being an immediate solution to our problems and another being a more long-term solution. And I think that if we don't have anything in place for the people of the town of Newfane to deal with their recycling, they will find a solution, hopefully, not throwing it over a bank, But, you know, I mean, people will come up with a solution to deal with their recycling, and I don't know if having bins in a year is gonna make a whole lot of sense. And maybe that's okay with you, I don't know, but I feel like, you know, at the town meeting, people clearly said that they wanted the bins, so I feel like we're letting them down to not have some kind of plan for the near future.
So you're, you're asking for a different charge?
I guess so. I'm sort of putting this in front of you and saying,
Right.
you know, if you turn around and say to us, come up with a plan, you know,
Well,
we
we as a,
Chris wanted to say
yeah.
something.
we as a board did discuss that, and we did come up with that specific charge. And I thought it was clear, but did you have a question, or do you want to make a
Yeah,
statement?
I wanted to make a statement.
Okay,
That vote at town meeting was not a binding vote, it was just a question. There is absolutely no money this year to do anything with that. We don't have any money.
right, it was
recycling.
not budgeted, yeah.
It's not budgeted.
Well, you were on the board when we had our discussions about the article, and there was talk when we originally wrote the article of putting some money in there, and for some reason, I don't know why, the board decided not to attach any money to it. And that puts us in a hard spot for sure, because now, you know, people think that we're working on coming up with a solution, but we're in this place where people want the bins, but we have no money to have any bins. So, I mean, I sort of think that, you know, we do have the option of having a special meeting as a town to vote some money for having bins.
There is that, oh,
John
Todd?
wants to say.
I'm looking at this as somebody who drives by this every day. Somebody has to come in here and clean it up every now and then. Get rid of the bins. There's people coming all over the place, not just Newfane, dumping stuff out there. They're dumping microwaves, TVs. The guy was out there today trying to get fencing out of that thing. They leave it on the ground. It sits there until the road crew, somebody comes along, picks it up. It costs the town money to get rid of it. If I was Rick Wilson and Ed Druk, I'd be pretty upset with the garbage that's still strewn all over their property from those bins. When the landfill closed, everybody's up in arms. What are we going to do with our garbage? Well, what did they do with their garbage? They hired contractors. Don't hear anything about the landfill anymore. Contractors take the garbage, it's all done, it's over with. Or they people take their trash to Brattleboro, it's done, it's over with. Same with recycling. The contractors will do the recycling. And if you're taking your garbage to Brattleboro, put your recycling in the car and go to Brattleboro with it. This is an eyesore. This town, this village is a historic village. It's an eyesore. It's disgusting out there. Plain and simple. I think you ought to check into doing the transfer station. The town doesn't got to worry about it. It would be out of sight, out of mind. It would to keep this place clean. I'm sure if any one of you had the garbage that's strewn all over the place on Rick Wilson's side or Eddie Druk's side, you'd be pretty upset with it. That's my thought on it. But
You know, I mean, I think, you know, it's a valid point, but I think there's a lot of different considerations in what you said. Having a transfer station is a possible thing, but it's gonna take time to get it off the ground. And I feel like we went to town meeting and we asked the voters what they wanted. If we didn't wanna do that, we shouldn't have asked them, you know?
how many people were there?
I don't know.
I think probably
50?
around 50.
And there's how many people in
No, there were more than that.
Was it more than 50?
there's how many people, residents of the
Oh,
town?
close to
Newfane?
100 people, okay.
So it's 100 out of 1,200 people, so.
I mean, you know, the thing is, the bins are getting a lot of use. You know, I'm sorry about the trash. It's not unique to Newfane. Every town that has those bins is struggling with this. It's the same problem in Brattleboro. I was in Putney the other day. They have junk lying around their bins. I think they hire people to clean it up, you know. But I still think that it's a very valuable service to the town and to the townspeople.
Johanna, what's so hard about people taking it? If you're going to Brattleboro with your garbage, why can't you take the recycling? And if you got a contractor picking it up, why can't the contractor pick it up? Why does the town have to be involved in it?
It can work that way, that's definitely true. I think that a lot of people though have said that, trash along the roads is going to be an issue, there's gonna be more trash. You know, it won't be out there anymore, it'll be, you know,
I think,
on down the roads.
I think we've heard both of you, and I appreciate what you're both saying. Anybody else want to ask a question or make a statement? Yes?
During the budget hearings, we were looking at 2018 as the time that we needed to have a decision made by.
Yep.
We still had this fiscal year in front of us. But then all of a sudden that changed
Yep.
to being July of 2017. And we were after our budget process and we didn't put the money in because we were told we had another year.
Yep.
And Wyndham Solid Waste Management has done a really terrible job at keeping us informed and guiding us to help us make decisions on behalf of our citizens. And you know, I know I respect and appreciate all the work you're doing, but I think you would agree that it's been a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, who do you lay the blame with? At this point, it's kind of irrelevant.
I mean, it's where we are.
You know, we are where we are because of a vote, an unexpected turn of the vote, you know? And it's not easy for any of the towns, but I will tell you that there are towns who have lined up haulers. Brookline's lined up a hauler, and they're gonna just continue with their bins.
Can
for
you
the time being.
share with us which towns have done that?
You know, I contacted Dummerston and I didn't hear back from them. I know Brookline is really the only one who I've spoken
So
to.
Brook,
Who is,
what is Brookline doing?
they have hired, I think, Triple T to come and take their bins.
You know what, may I say something? I walk along Ellenware Road at times, and my understanding that I've been told is that the first half from Route 30 of Ellenware Road is Townsend's responsibility, and then the second part is Brookline's responsibility. And it is absolutely horrible to walk on that road and see what people have done with their garbage. It is dumped over the bank down to the river. It is dumped in the back on the other side, in the grass and in the meadows. It is, I mean, it's amazing that with Townsend having, what do they have, a transfer station? Yeah. I mean, people are just still throwing, or not still, but have started to throw small bags of garbage, couches, televisions,
So that's not
beer
really,
cans.
it's not really recycling, that's just throwing trash.
Yeah, but they're doing,
Recycling bins open, so
exactly.
they're doing it
That's what I'm
anyway.
saying, they have the recycling bins and they have everything, and people just still do it. That's, you know, and now, since we are a year short in planning with the money, I mean, I do understand and agree with what Todd is saying right now, in the sense that we're all stuck. And nobody wanted this. Of course, everybody who was, not everybody, but most of the people who were at the town meeting absolutely voted to continue with having bins, but now it's not a possibility in the sense that, in the way we thought it was. So there are different choices that people have to make. Either you hire your own hauler, or you go into Brattleboro, and in the process, we can be planning and putting the money in the budget for next year. I mean,
Shannon?
It'll give you a year to figure out what is gonna happen if you don't have the bins.
Shannon, do you happen to have, I don't have it in front of me, the actual charge that we did give this committee? I would just have to plagiarize it to tell you, but it would be basic.
Let me see if I can get
Was it in our last minutes?
No.
No, I think it was very.
you mean what we decided to
Right,
buy?
what their charge is
Sound
for
like
this
it, what it
committee.
was, you wanted before, is to see what it would cost
It was
to
basically,
haul the bins, or a
Yeah.
solution would be, if a private hauler come in, how much would it cost each household owner to get rid of their stuff?
I personally appreciate you wanting to have something for our citizens to recycle on July 1st. I appreciate that. I would, to be the best of the best. But because we have no money and because it hasn't been budgeted and because everything is sort of up in the air and with the rental and all of these other things, I think the charge, as soon as we get to it, talks about we need from the committee alternative solutions. Maybe 3 would be great, but whatever you can come up with, and that would take a lot of work, not only going to each town and asking, what are you doing? But actually then coming up with prices, contract, potential, wouldn't be a contract, but it would be, what do you charge for your, how do you work a transfer station? Come up with different solutions and how much that solution is going to cost and how long you think, and your best guess, it would take to install that solution. And then bring it back to us, and by that time, we're going to be budgeting for next year. And and so that we have the short term, it doesn't look like it's going to be able to be done. And we'll just have to, because it's not budgeted for.
When is your budgeting process start? What month?
We could actually start toward the end of September and beginning of October. And
not so much for actual numbers, won't be until
it would be a little
November,
later,
December.
but we can start talking about it. We don't have to actually
Yeah, but the
come
budget
up
we
with
started on then isn't for, it's for the,
You're only 2
That's
months
for
into
the
the
next
budget
fiscal
at
year.
that point.
Right.
It's-
Right.
It's
But
pointless.
that's for next July.
July
The
2000.
charge is in our minutes.
Yeah,
from last
I was
meeting.
just looking for minutes.
So they're here,
Just the
they're right
last
here,
minute.
yeah.
Did you find
okay.
them? You want
I
to
do.
read that, Harry?
Thank you. You can stop looking.
This is your
Right,
charge.
so it's not gonna happen for this year, but I'm just saying that we've already looked at maps of land that Newfane owns. And there's very few possibilities there for transfer station.
Right.
You have Mike has proposed his land
Right.
as a potential.
But we
you know.
need not just ideas, but actual.
Of course, of course.
So the charge that we approved at our last meeting was, the charge of the recycling committee is to research the feasibility and cost of all viable alternatives available for continued recycling in the town of Newfane, and to bring findings and recommendations to the select board for their consideration.
And so you recognize that may be only 2 or 3 possibilities.
Oh yeah, we understand that.
We understand
But
that.
we're not the experts. And we're hoping that your experience in this and working with Tristan and the other members of
And
this
Mike.
committee, you guys
Mike
can and Mike, and
is
you
good
guys
at
can
finding
focus on this.
information.
well, these containers out here, I mean, I don't know how many times I've gone by at 10 o'clock at night and there's somebody out there putting things in there. I mean, are they the ones bringing the garbage or whatever? I can't imagine a lot of the guys that live right here doing it at 10 o'clock
Well,
at night.
I've said this many times, I use those bins constantly, so it's definitely gonna cramp my lifestyle.
I use them all the time too.
So let's have a deadline. Is it October that you need final presentation
We
from
need
this
you to
committee
come
so
back
that you can then process it for your budget work?
That's it.
That'd be
All right.
terrific.
Okay, so October is our deadline. We'll shoot for and give you, at that point, the summation of our work.
Absolutely.
All right.
And,
In the meantime, it's terribly important that the town understand the hole everybody's
Absolutely.
in. Who's responsible for getting that note out?
we will be.
Okay. Thank you, Shannon.
What did you say?
She didn't say anything, but I know she's the one's gonna do
She
it.
raised her hand.
She will do it, yes.
That
was actually my question,
phone. They've been on my phone.
It's going to be really important to keep information flowing to the
The
people who
the
live here,
citizens, yep.
so that they know they can still go, to Wyndham Solid
We-
Waste and recycle.
We may actually
have to
even.
buy
They have to buy a
Right,
permit.
so the one
yes.
change, as I mentioned in my last report, is that it's now gonna be $35 a year
Mhm.
for a pass down there. And everything's moving inside the gate, so even to recycle, you're gonna need that $35 a year pass.
And can I just have a clarification? Are we still going to be borrowing the 6 bins, or Todd, you're saying, your opinion is that we shouldn't have anything?
I mean, They're reserved for us. If we don't need them, that's fine.
Problem having them there, but not having any money to move them,
Yep.
Right,
it's
so who's
kind of
gonna
pointless
fill
to have them
them?
there. Because they're gonna get filled up, then there's just gonna be junk all around them.
Right.
But
Unless you wanna rent them or whatever, and put them in, like, the town garage, we can put them up near the woods, and hold them. Somewhere out of sight and out of mind, so people don't start using them, so that
Well,
in the
how
future
long
you
are we
have them.
allowed to have these?
I don't know.
They don't know.
I guess that's one of the things that Johanna and Tristan can find
Yeah,
out.
maybe you
I
could
can
I
find
was
ask
that.
at the
guessing
next meeting.
here because, when I was there, we voted to mothball everything for a year. But they might just decide to give them to us at the end of that year
Well, if
too.
that happens,
The next meeting's Thursday, I can find out.
yeah. It's very frustrating, and sorry that, it's frustrating for everyone. It's going to be frustrating for everyone. And, yes.
I have one, Carol Hesselback, the town clerk. So I just have one concern.
Yes.
If we're not gonna have those out there, we need a plan for the recycling from the office. Because we have a
we
lot
have a
of
wonderful
stuff.
road crew.
We can do something with it.
Something, yeah.
I imagine too, when those bins disappear, there will be issues.
There will be issues.
I imagine people will bring and leave behind recycling. They'll continue to bring TVs and couches and all manner of appliances. I mean, there will be problems out there without those bins. I'm not saying, I'm not weighing in on the debate so much as just to say that I think we have to really be I get it, yeah. We just have to be very mindful of.
Well, you're lucky because you've got the security camera pointing out that parking lot now, so.
I'm
you should be able to-
sorry?
I said you have the security camera out there.
We do have a
so you
security
can-
camera. I'm
Does it work?
thinking,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one we ended up putting in, the town ended up buying, putting in,
So that will require, so I imagine we'll be seeing some things that.
we may have to gate the.
I was
the
thinking of a
driveway.
gate.
The only challenge there is the State Transportation Center's parking lot, right? So that presents a problem in how exactly we go about that.
I think I think the problem won't last that long, no matter if you did have a problem. They're gonna get the hint, if it's not theirs, you gotta find a place to go with it.
you could always make up signs, I guess.
Right.
Put them out there that as of a certain date, the recycling, at least for temporary, is not gonna be there.
A sign now even, right?
Right.
Well,
Start-
I'm thinking that we need to, that an idea would be to send out a flyer in the mail to all of our citizens, telling them what is happening, when the bins will no longer be there, suggestions as to how to go about taking the recycling in or having it hired out, having somebody pick it up. Alternates, and what we're doing about it for the future. And that in the future, their input will be needed as to what is their preference. And I don't, something
think
like
they
that.
do
What
have
would
to-
they like to see? Would they like to see bins again, or would they like to have a transfer station, or would they, and that we have a deadline of October-ish to get that information to the select board or to the recycling committee.
I think you're going to have, in my opinion, more than one letter. I think one flyer needs to be just in bold letters telling us the date when we can no longer bring recycling here, and 2 or 3 suggestions of what they can do. You don't want to send a long letter with all the information together. We can do that separately.
We've got the
But
tax
we have
bills.
to have flyers like what you showed us before. Do you have that there?
I'm wondering if for the first part, you could do a postcard which would say.
Yeah, I mean, just a
Well, we've got
simple
the tax
flyer
bills going out.
also with a fine.
Yeah.
We have to have that on
With a what?
the, stating that there can be a fine attached to
I think a letter thing would just a simple little letter, whatever, but probably more important than anything, it's a big sign right out there.
Absolutely.
And
They
I
come
would-
see it, you know,
I
after
would like-
July 1st, it's gone.
I would like Todd also to look in a cost for these signs from the state that talks about littering.
I think I've got some of it over there.
Okay, so if you could get us some, how much those are, because there is a $500 fine for littering.
You can put on the sandwich board and put it right out there tomorrow. Bins will be gone July 1st.
Well, that kind of is that kind of panicking without giving them the
No.
different
No,
options
it's preparing.
as to
You're already
what to
into
do?
June now.
No, I meant as to
You
what to
put
do
down the
about
phone
it.
number for in here and they can call up and.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, the sandwich board would probably
Yep.
help. So I'm thinking, if I did a postcard like right now, and then
Put
put
it in the
a
tax
more
bills.
detailed thing
Yep.
in the tax
Yeah.
bills.
Right.
Perfect.
Because they won't
I
go
like
out
that
until
idea.
after things are gone, so.
So
Johanna.
I have a question, and I know this is a really touchy subject, but after looking at the properties that the town has, there really are not very many options for where a transfer station could be. And I go back to the town garage because I don't see,
Well, what I would-
don't see other options. So what I just want to say, if that's something which we wanted to look at, who do we talk to about this? I mean, who
As a-
knows, who has final authority over whether or not that's a possibility, who can discuss it with us, who can tell us why it can't possibly work or how it might work, or, how does that work?
I would think that you start with Chris and Todd, and
That's
then,
what I'm saying.
Okay, Chris?
The problem over there is vehicles, and another problem is all in the front and to the right, the property is all wetlands.
The state has that certified as wetlands, that's why
Wetlands, that's why
the
you
town
can't,
garage is laid out the way it is.
So if you're standing on the road looking at the town garage, it's to the right or to the left?
If you're
To the
standing
right.
If you're standing right in front of the garage from Depot, right straight on where all the brush and stuff is, that's all wetlands. And to the right where the trail comes out, that's wetlands. The town had to pull quite a bit of stuff to get them to let them put the garage there because it was wetlands.
Are those 50-foot buffers or 200-foot buffers from those wetlands?
You have to look at the permit, it must be here on file somewhere, I'm not sure where it would be, I don't know that.
there's not that much land there.
what about the possibility of us visiting the site of the town garage, the committee and maybe the select board, and you and Chris can show us what you're talking about, and maybe we can see something that you haven't thought of yet, maybe, who knows? But I think it would be good to have a visit, and I think we should do it soon, like before next select board
There's a
meeting.
lot of research to do in terms of what kind of infrastructure needs to be put there
Yeah,
and so on.
that's why we're
You know,
asking
we
the
can't-
committee
we
to,
can't
that's your
start-
charge, to do research.
Right,
come up
but
with
what I'm saying
information.
is that if I don't even know if this is a potential spot to put it, I don't wanna put a lot of time into trying to figure out, how much it's gonna cost and what's gonna be there if it's not even a viable possibility. You see what I'm saying? So for me, the first step would be to visit with whoever, like you said, to do a visit with whoever knows the place well enough,
Right.
so that we can
Well, you
see, is there any possibility?
You'd probably, if that, you'd want to look at the actual land use permit and see if, where the wetlands start, where they end, and all of that sort of thing. And so I'm not sure where that's kept, but that's something that you could find out. I had a question, just, what is at the end of the bridge to nowhere?
Nowhere.
Somebody's house?
No,
Somebody's
I know
house,
it's
yes.
somebody's house, but do they still own it?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
Private land.
Oh, they do own it, all right.
Which one
That's
is
why they
that?
had to get put back in here, because they still had a house here that they own. Otherwise, we weren't gonna put it back in here.
The Monroe House, right?
What's that?
Is it the one in Monroe House?
Yeah, they don't do anything with it.
I lived over there.
Oh, yeah.
It's a pretty nice place.
I think really myself, if, I'm not on the committee, but it'd be talk to Mike some more. If he's thinking about doing a transfer station, work with him on it.
Needs to come up with a plan, and you guys can all, that's one of your options,
Maybe
and you
do it
could
on his
start with
property.
him. And you have a meeting tomorrow night, don't you?
No, but I mean, obviously we wanna
So
come.
Mike, you could go to that meeting.
Choices, you know, so. I mean, I
Ken.
think for the townspeople too, it's important to research, you know, a situation where we're using town land because it will cost us less, presumably.
We need to have an idea too, how much acreage is required for a transfer
That's it.
station. Because it's not like the containers.
Just putting
at all.
out bins and having big, huge trucks come in and Cameron. I did, I think talking to other towns is, that's one of the things that I think is advisable. They're all, you know, grappling with the same issue. So, yes.
Could I make a suggestion? I appreciate the different thoughts that have been offered in this freewheeling conversation about what needs to be covered, you know, what may or may not be options. And so I think that it's time for the committee to take that, figure out what is the best logical sequence of steps, of meetings, of site reviews, and so that long before October, we're able to have a concise, clear picture of the options and how we can move forwards. But I don't think we can get much further tonight other than
I think you're
just
right.
brainstorming. So,
Yep, you're right.
but I appreciate the thoughts and suggestions and comments about what's out there.
So you have elucidated the position we have been in now 4 or 5, 6 times, sitting at this table with, we have to make a decision, but we don't have enough information to make a decision. That's why we're very happy to have a recycling committee who can tackle this problem and to bring us back some solutions.
We'll tackle it, we'll see what we come up with.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys, for
Well,
working on
thank
it.
you for your hard work.
Thank you, Johanna. Thank you, Kristen. Have a good night.
So we'll be putting a sign out here though.
Yeah, I think we have to.
I think actually we do need to put, immediately, we need to put the signs out here.
Yeah.
And we need to start forming a postcard or whatever, some kind of
I'm just gonna get it out this week.
some kind of communication and get it out ASAP, something on the website, although not that many people actually look at the website. It is on the record here.
Oh,
Look at the website.
They are.
yeah, I look at it a lot.
I do too, but then, we know why that's happening.
So
But,
Carol Hesselback and I will do the sandwich board this
Yep.
week, and I'll get the postcards out.
yeah, and get
if
back
not
to
this
me,
week,
yep,
first
I
thing next
appreciate
week.
that. And, yes, we need to get ASAP on this. Okay. Do we have any unscheduled, members of the public who would like to speak? No. All right, new business. Evaluation form review. And just as a reminder, evaluations of our employees is in the personnel policy to happen on a yearly basis. And it has been several years since our employees have enjoyed an evaluation. And so we had, we did pull the evaluation from the file, and it appeared to not be something that, well, we wanted to improve it. And Todd, could you come up a little bit closer, Todd? And Todd did put together a proposed evaluation for the,
That was one that we used the last time we did evaluations.
which one? The one you just
The
put
one
up?
I gave you there, the one that Gary has.
It's nowhere in the personnel file.
I don't know why.
None of them are in the personnel file.
It should have been, so that's what we used the last time. I don't know. Anyways, I just figured I'd offer it up, so.
Well, I appreciated it, and I thought it was, it was quite appropriate. It was a lot more appropriate than sort of the boilerplate one that was in the personnel file, that had been used several years ago. But, so we can discuss this now. Did everybody read this one? They got a copy of it. It says Newfane Highway Department Employee Evaluation. And you did use this? You have used this in the past?
That was the last time I used. I don't know why they're not on file. I don't know.
Are they in your file?
I don't keep it.
You don't keep a personal file, I'm wondering if there's some way for that.
It must be in here somewhere, but I don't know where. It might be when you were in Florida.
I'm sorry?
The year that Shannon had left and gone to Florida, then came back. Maybe it was that year.
Well, that was several years ago.
Yes.
I don't know.
There's nothing in any of the employees' files with this
It's been weird.
evaluation.
Who is responsible for the employee records?
I,
Okay. During the period when you're not here, does that reside in the town clerk's office, or
what
where
do
does
you
it
mean
go?
when I'm not here?
Well, like, in this case.
She lives
you
here.
You were in Florida.
She left
I
and
was-
moved to Florida for a year.
I was not an employee for 1 year.
So, these are town records. Why wouldn't the town clerk have a copy of them?
Because they're personnel records, they're not public.
They can be locked in the safe.
But
She's not supposed to
they
have
need
them.
be over here.
Okay, well,
Anyways,
But-
if you want to use those, that's fine. I don't know where they went. It doesn't matter really, except
Well,
that I just figured I'd let you
it
see
kind of
that
does
one.
matter. Legally, you need to keep all these records. If there was ever a complaint or a lawsuit or something happened, we would need to have records.
Unless whatever select board
so-
that was accidentally kept them and never gave me.
Why don't we just focus on now?
Okay, that's fine. But
Rather than worrying
we
about
do need
whether
to
we're
know, we
prepared.
do need to do this as our
I'll
personnel
make a
policy.
motion, we use this form that Todd turned out.
Yeah,
I'll
I
second.
second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we use,
They always
for the
getting ready.
highway department only, for the highway department only, that we use these. Did you do this one? Did you two together come up with this evaluation form?
I typed it up a while ago.
Okay, you typed it up a while ago, so you did that, okay, that's
Yeah.
good. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't something
Shannon doctored
from,
everything.
something from 12, 15, 20 years ago. Okay, all right.
I
It's-
usually type it up,
Yeah,
then I send it to my
Doctor,
put it correctly on a piece of paper first, and
Yeah.
that's what it comes up like. So.
I'm just, yes, okay. So we're moving forward. Is there any discussion on this motion?
No.
we can always change it if we need to later. But
Right.
this is good to get started with.
This is good to get started with. I do have some suggestions, but perhaps what I could do is I could have a time where you and I could meet together and see what you think of the road commissioner, and see what you think about adding a few things to make it more legal and cover us a little bit better. Would that be good? That's my suggestion.
Okay.
Okay, so,
I want to ask you something. If
yes.
this is a legal document, how are you going to make it more legal?
Well, there are some things, we don't know if this is a legal document.
No, you were saying
Right,
that these things have to be under lock and key because these are legal in case anybody
Right.
ever had to sue. So this is
well, we don't know if it covers,
pretty detailed.
it is pretty detailed. However, there's,
Why not leave well enough alone?
Right.
well, there's a couple of things, it's perfect in many ways. But, one of the things is, for instance, you have a comments or concerns section. But there is, you need to have not only a supervisor's comments listed, but you need to also have an employee's comments, because you're going to give your employee the chance to rebut your evaluation. And that is something that the personnel policy does say. An employee needs to also add his comments at the bottom. So that's just a little teeny detail. That's what I'm talking about, those kinds, just to make it so that it matches the personnel policy. Yes,
Just some suggestions. I mean, Vermont League of Cities and Towns, maybe they have some guidance on how to manage these things. And second point is you probably have a fair amount of discretion on how these forms are designed, as long as it's done the same way for everybody.
that's right.
And as far as employee comments, it may not I think you're indicating this, but it's not only a rebuttal, it could be, oh, and by the way, I've also done this, that, and the other.
That's right.
So it's a chance to amplify an already great evaluation, for instance.
Right, employees should be encouraged to write their own comments with some kind of a statement. You know, saying that they can actually put how wonderful it is to work here. They can put
They
all
can say
kinds of
that they
things.
don't want any days off because
That's
they're
right,
thrilled
they're
to
just
come in here.
loving
They could
coming
work
to work
24
every
hours a
day,
day.
but they need-
No Christmas vacation.
I would find them in writing.
But they need to have it on the evaluation form. So it's just things like that, small little.
So, motion to amend the motion to to add supervisor comments and concerns, and then add employee comments and concerns to this form.
That's what I'm
Then
thinking
move
is
the
it would
question.
keep it matching the personnel policy.
Can we think about this before we vote on
You have a
it?
motion to move a question.
What?
It's a priority motion. You have a motion on the floor to move a question.
Can you speak English to me? I'm sleeping already. What are you saying to me?
I've asked for a vote to be taken on the motion, or the amendment, and then the
Right,
motion.
but didn't Mike,
Yeah, he just amended it.
Yeah,
He amended Mike's
Right.
motion.
Is there a second to
I-
the amendment?
Yeah, right. Is there a second to the
Second.
amendment?
Okay, we have a motion to amend Mike's motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm not sure.
All those
I'm not
against?
sure.
Okay. All those against are saying no? Any abstaining? Okay. It appears to have passed by 3.
Nope, that's the amendment.
Oh, that's,
Now
oh, that
motion.
amendment. Okay. The amendment is passed by 3 to whatever.
Now you have to have a motion to approve the.
Great.
Okay, now we back to the motion to approve it.
There you go.
Any second for the motion to approve it?
You've already had the second. You're
Okay.
ready to vote.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against it, say no.
I'm thinking. I am, I'm not gonna,
It's okay.
I'm
Do
not
you want to
sure.
abstain?
Yes.
Okay, and we have 1 abstention, so we have 4 in favor and 1 abstention. The motion passes. All right, thank you. Thank you very much for showing me this. It's the first time I've seen it. Appreciate your work. All right. Okay, just moving right along, we have highway crew openings and review of applications. Appears that you only had 1 interview.
Right. We had 4 applications. We had people turn in 4. 1 didn't fill out the employee application.
Right, so-
So I'm assuming that I would put that one aside because it doesn't meet the qualifications. So I really gotta do 2 more reviews.
Have you contacted them?
No,
No,
but I will right off.
you will. Okay,
Yeah.
great. So we should table this review until you have all.
It'd be nice if Christopher was there for at least 2 of them, because if there's something I miss, you could ask that question. Normally we have, whenever I've hired before, we've had 1 select board member and myself to do them, and then that way he can come back to the board and say that, you know, as a select board member, somebody reviewed, I recommend that we hire so-and-so.
Do you ever have the road commissioner in with your interviews?
No, he said that he was told he couldn't, and then
You
still
told me
vote
I
on it.
couldn't.
No, I didn't tell you that.
Yes, you did. You told me on the telephone.
Okay,
That's why I bring it up, because normally
Yeah.
there's 1 select board member
so
there
what,
as well.
I make a motion, we have Christopher sit in on the interviews with Todd.
I
That'd be
second.
fine.
okay, we have a motion and a second that Chris sit in on the interviews.
That way Todd can't
With
take no
Todd.
bribes or
What's-
nothing.
What's that?
That way Todd can't take no bribes or nothing.
Was there a
Oh,
reason
God.
why you didn't think that Christopher should be in on the interviews?
No, I
with them?
didn't, I don't have
Okay.
any memory of saying that.
I did.
Okay,
You told me.
So, you got a motion second?
yes, and we have a motion and a second to have Chris be in on the other, all the interviews. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those against it, say no.
So for the
Passes.
motion,
Motion, and you abstain.
review of applications, motion to table to a time certain, June 19th?
Yep.
Okay.
Either that, or if you wanna speed it up a little bit, once we're done with the reviews, get together real quick,
Mhm.
do the recommendation and get that person hired, because they're gonna need to take 2 weeks off, 2-week notification, so if we wait till June, whatever, it's gonna be.
Well, that's 2 weeks out.
Right, then
19th.
then it's 2 weeks after that,
Mhm.
so you're talking the middle of July before we hire anybody.
Well, most people that you're going to interview, I would think, already are working. And there's usually the,
Yeah, see, that's what he's saying.
right.
Yeah.
This way, if you wait 2 more weeks, then they're gonna get 2 more weeks at their notice at their employment. So there's, at least you're out a month,
Yeah, you can
5 weeks.
first or second week in July before you usually hired.
So what he's saying, if they
Mhm.
see one they really like, maybe if they just come back and we said, go ahead.
Well, we do have to, I think it's, don't you have to contact the employer for references? Say you decide on, say we all vote on, that we would like to accept X, Y, Z, and then we need reference check, and that takes a little bit of time as well.
Shannon could do that. I'm gonna put it all on Shannon, but she could get a hold of, if they give you the work number, find out who their boss is. I mean, we could ask them who their boss is, and
I think don't you need a letter? No, just over the phone?
No, I'd almost be just as happy, I think, you know, if them two decide which one would be the best one for the job.
I would agree with
I
that.
agree with
And I
that.
mean, whatever one they decide it is, they say that he's hired, and then you give us 2 weeks notice wherever he's at.
Well, I'm
So
thinking,
it's motion to table until time uncertain, based on the recommendation of the highway commissioner and the highway foreman.
That way we don't have to wait till the 19th
We
to
can do it whenever,
decide.
just gotta get together.
Right,
They're gonna come back and tell us who we want anyways, we're just gonna vote it in anyways, right?
right.
Are you saying to make a motion to give them the authority to hire?
No,
Is that what you're saying,
Well,
Mike?
No, the board has to hire.
yeah.
well,
Well, it's pretty much that, no, I'm pretty
Have
much
you-
saying
That is
he's
what
going
he's
with your
saying.
recommendation.
yeah, that is.
Well, they're gonna make a recommendation, but we don't have to accept that recommendation. or
Right,
if
I
we
think
find
what
it's
he
a-
was saying was to make a motion to
Yeah,
give
that's what I
Todd
did.
and
I mean,
Christopher.
we're putting these two in
authority.
charge of it anyways, I mean, they're just gonna come back to us and tell us to hire this guy.
But we're the hiring authority, we have to make the final yay or nay, because we're the ones responsible for the budget. That's why it's a motion uncertain until we get a recommendation back.
So you're saying to have a special meeting at some point in the future?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Between
But at least now he has authority then to go ahead and complete the process. See
So
what I mean?
we'll have a meeting before the 19th.
Yeah, whenever they're ready, they'll let us know, and we can get together and,
I would think we only got 2 more to do, that we should be able to do that in the next couple of days, or by the end of the week certainly. So, as soon as I can get them down here to the town office even at 6 o'clock at night, just to interview them, then shouldn't take that long.
I think one requirement should be that they have to sit through a select board meeting.
I think yes, that's reasonable.
I thought you wanted to hire someone.
No.
No, you don't mean that, do you?
No.
No, we're
I
actually trying to find a little humor here. All right, so we have a motion, and I am so confused at this point, I don't remember what the motion was.
You have a motion on the floor to table this till a time uncertain, and that uncertain time is based on the recommendation of the road commissioner and the road foreman as to who their recommendation is. Then we'll meet and we'll make a
This is-
decision.
Following the completion of all interviews.
Correct. Well, but whenever they're ready to
Yeah.
make the recommendation.
Okay, all those do we have a second for that? You seconded it. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? No. No, it appears that the motion has passed completely. All right. Okay, old business.
Oh, so got one item under new business.
Oh,
Marion, had a
Marion's.
question.
Oh, I have a question that has been asked to me in the last week or two. And so they said, can I ask Mr. Select Board, this has nothing to do with Newfane, except for the fact that there are planes apparently flying over Newfane and over Putney and over Townsend and I guess all the, and over
I have
Dover.
the answer.
You what?
I have the answer.
What?
The Air Force Base in Massachusetts is doing training.
It's Massachusetts? We were
Yeah.
told, a lot of people were told it was up in Burlington.
No, it's the Massachusetts Barnes.
Oh,
Air Force Base.
so that's
They're
why.
doing training. It should be over by mid-June.
Oh, okay, great.
There was
So it's
something on
in
the table that they
Massachusetts. Air
They-
Force in Massachusetts.
Barnes.
They do it every year.
Yep.
Yeah, Burns,
Westfield,
Barnes,
Mass.
Westfield, Mass.
Westfield, Mass.
Which
Okay,
my
thank you.
son-in-law is a member of the Air Force Reserve who works
Done
there.
by mid-June, you saying you
It should
think?
be done by mid-June, yeah.
Okay,
And
thank
if,
you.
if the clouds were clear and you can get a shot of them with a pair of binoculars, they're really quite fascinating.
They're pretty neat, yeah.
Yeah, especially when they go to afterburners, they disappear so fast you can't even see them.
The problem is, there've been so many clouds, I haven't,
Yeah, you can't
most
see
of us haven't been able to see anything.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's the question and the answer, thank you.
Although one of them did pop the sound barrier 2 weeks ago. They're not supposed to do that. So
That's
call
why
them and
they're
tell them.
training.
Right.
Okay,
All right. Now we're going on to old business. Let's start with Gary's Green Mountain Power report.
Okay. I've been concerned, and I mentioned it at one of the board meetings, that, you know, we lose power on a pretty regular basis. We discussed just a couple of weeks ago, we'd lost power twice in just a couple of days. And we had the same problem on the Cape, and we got Instar in, and things got a lot better when we started the communication. So I got in touch with Mike Burke from Green Mountain Power, and he was very happy that we'd called, and he gave me quite a bit of information. And they have completed their smart grid process, which means that the substation talks to the poles, and the poles then tell them where, you know, which breakers are out, and transmits that information back and forth. So that process is now pretty much done, and that is now going to help them be able to identify exactly down to a much smaller area where the power is out. Previously, they would have a number on their website which might say 900 people out of power at Dummerson, because it only read the Dummerson's substation. And 700 of those might have been in Newfane, 200 might have been in Dummerson, so it didn't look like anybody knew our power was out. And in fact, in one case, they didn't know the power was
That's right.
out.
We called in, they said, no,
No
we don't
record
have a
of it.
report.
Yep. And he looked up and he found the record that I had called in back in December when we were out of power for almost 24 hours. And they only had us out of power here in Newfane for 45 minutes from when we started calling in that morning going, what happened? So they've improved their system, and they're still working on it. And the sort of long and short is, if the power goes out, call them. They'll respond to it immediately. You'll get much faster service. Just pick up the phone and call.
Yeah, we do.
And then you know that it's on their system, and you know they're going to get it fixed. And they really do want to be responsive to us about that. They are right now in the middle of a hardening process, which is going to take the pole line, which goes up Route 30, all those multi-phase lines, three-phase lines, and they're going to put in a new conductor, or not conductor, but a new piece of steel on top of that, steel cable on top of it, that will catch limbs as they fall without them falling on the conductors themselves, which will stop what happened up here across from the bank 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
So that's a really important thing. That's part of their current build plan. So that's going to help out a lot too. They are in the process of working on new feeders between Jamaica and Dummerson. That's going to give us some backup power. They're working on Radaway Road up to Townsend. That's going to help us out with some better capabilities there. But the main thing that can help is two things. One is their right-of-way is 25 feet. When you look at the pole line, they have 12.5 feet on one side of the pole line and 12.5 feet on the other. That's their easement. So they cut the trees out of that easement. But if you've got a tree on your property that's further than 12.5 feet in, and it's big and it's got limbs that overhang their lines, they can cut them down, but they got to know about them first. So if you have a tree that you suspect is in their right of way, they will come out and survey the tree for you. And they will make the changes to the tree that are necessary to make it safe for the power lines. And that's a lot better than having your neighbors wondering about your tree fell on their power lines and now everybody's out of power. And they're glad to do this. If your tree is not a problem for them, they won't do anything. If your tree is a problem for them, they'll go ahead and order the tree service to be done on that tree. So that can be a great deal of help to anybody who has abutters up and down the line that depend on power. They are really interested in talking to us anytime that we have concerns, and to keep us in touch with the changes that they're making to their system so that it will be more robust and more solid and more powerful during these storms, because there's nothing that they're going to be able to do about the storms except make their system stronger.
Thank you so much, Gary,
You're
for
welcome.
finding all that information out. That's very informative. I do have trees that the power company has come by and said, oh, this is the power line, but it, we got this and this, and then they never cut it. They never took the limbs, the really high limbs off, and they just sort of left it there. And, so I think the tree service sometimes perhaps may not do exactly what they're asked to do.
Well,
because it's happened to us on a couple of occasions.
Their
Thank
cycle-
goodness the branches haven't been blown off. I mean, the limbs haven't been blown off, but yeah, they're close. They're just right over the power line.
Their cycle is every 7 years. They're about 4 years into the cycle. So every 7 years, they pay for the land or the tree company to come through and cut everything out of their right of way.
But the tree company has come through.
Yep.
And
It didn't
did
cut?
not. No.
Evidently, it was beyond the 12.5 feet.
Oh, no, it's not. But, so, I guess it's not a perfect world, but.
It's not.
But thank you. In
Yeah,
fact, now that I
thanks a
have a
lot
little bit
for
more,
doing that and reporting.
ammunition to
Okay.
basically call the power company and report that the tree wasn't trimmed. Okay, well, that's very informative. Thank you so much. All right, now we're moving on to Employee Appreciation Day set place. I think last meeting we asked that Gary and Marion would come up with a list of possible places to have our Appreciation Day in September.
Well, I sent an email out to everybody late this afternoon because we did not get a chance to meet. But, and in my email, I suggested a few different places, and I gave Chris a copy of the letter. So I had suggested as possibilities, public places like Union Hall, Williamsville Hall, the fire station, or even Town Hall. And then Gary had also suggested at one point about Fieldstone Lodge.
Yep.
And then I also made a grid of checking off which facilities had kitchen, adequate parking, and outdoor space. So I think most of us, or some of us, have decided that it might make most sense to do it at the firehouse, but I think we have to have discussion here and see what the other people think. And then if that is the case, Shannon said we talked to Bob Litchfield about
Bob was
availability.
Kendra Brooks, one or the other.
Yeah,
You
okay,
can't get Bob, you can get Kendra, and she can do the same thing, so
okay.
she and Bob work together, so.
So how does everybody feel? Anybody have any other suggestions?
Sounds good to me.
Well, I'm kind of looking at, thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
I'm actually wondering if what we thought about, because Williamsville Hall sounds perfect in the fact that it has all of those amenities and it is, it's close to Town Garage, so if somebody wanted to walk over or drive by or take a look at the truck or something, since most of our workers, most of our employees work at the Town Garage. But we would have to change the date. We'd probably have to find out what dates that are still available for Williamsville
The
Hall.
only thing about the Williamsville Hall that I've heard a lot of people complain about is the stairs. Going up and down those stairs, people hate that.
Well, we could take the lift.
Go ahead.
I know, I have
I'll have
taken
the
the
fire department
lift.
there ready to, with a
I
job
have
light
taken
feet
the
out of
lift
it.
before. It is an experience, and
I just think if you're gonna get a lot of people there,
I don't know if we're gonna get a lot of people there.
but even if you get older people there, the stairs is an issue there, because that's what I hear about all the
The stairs are
time.
difficult, the
Yeah.
steps
Oh,
going
yeah.
down.
The floor is difficult.
I think as some of us discussed this, we felt like Newbrook was a better location simply because it has a large amount of
Everything, and
parking.
it's
It
flat.
has outdoor area, it has a good kitchen, good dining room area. Not that Williamsville Hall doesn't have those.
Right.
It certainly does. But it's also a neutral area, between all three of the villages. So, for that reason, that's why I went along with Marion's suggestion for Newbrook.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to say?
I mean, maybe we don't have to vote on it tonight, but it's something we can.
I think we should move forward.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah, time is passing.
Okay. Oh,
Yes.
Fire department's a good spot.
all right,
what do
so,
you think, Chris?
Yeah, it's a good spot.
Okay, so
Okay,
then,
and
you know
is-
what, I can, I'll
is it
get in
available?
touch with Bob Litchfield, I can talk to him.
If, like I say, if you don't get in,
Yeah, tell me the other name.
Kendra Brooks,
Oh, Kendrick Brooks?
yeah, Brookline.
Brooks.
So a lot of times Bobby gets busy or something like that, and then.
Is that Norm Brooks' son? or-
No, it's Tommy Brooks' wife.
Oh, okay,
You can almost always get a hold of her. So.
okay.
Do we have a date range that we're thinking of?
well, we
It
already
was
have a date.
September 16th,
Okay.
15th?
September 16th,
Oh, 16th, yeah.
16th. And it was from noon to 4 is what we had to.
That's on a,
Saturday.
Oh, that doesn't work?
That's gonna be
this is a bingo.
yeah. We'd have to be out there by 5.
You'd have to be out of there by no later than 4.
Yeah.
4, that's what I
The building would
said.
have to be
But you'd have to have it
correctly-
cleaned up. And,
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's say noon to 3 and then an hour for cleanup, something like that?
probably.
Yeah, that's good.
Is everybody in agreement with this?
Okay.
All right, sounds good.
Do you need a motion
I
or
don't
just
think
go?
we do. Are we
Okay.
all in agreement? Yeah, we're all in agreement. Okay. All right, we have correspondence.
Good night, all.
Good night, thank you
Good
very much,
night,
Todd.
thanks, Todd.
We got pay orders coming up.
You sure?
fun. I hate to
Okay.
All right, correspondence, where are you? Actually,
We already actually
is this
discussed it.
the copy, but it's to Todd Lawley?
Yeah, so they just sent a copy to you, and we've already responded.
All right, so this is from Lucian Leap. And it's to Todd Lawley. And dear Todd, I'm writing to formally request that you perform by July 1st the agreed upon dam repairs at Kenny Pond. I think he did talk
We
about
already
this.
talked about that.
Yes, but I guess we have to read it.
It's been read into the record?
Yes, we have to read it into the record. These were authorized and budgeted for by the Select Board at the February 1st, 2016 meeting to be done in this fiscal year. As you know, these repairs were recommended by the state 3 years ago, and we are paying an annual fine in the form of an increased dam fee each year. I respectfully ask that you confirm your ability to complete this work to me in writing no later than May 25th, 2017. Time is of the essence, as you know. Yours sincerely, Lucian Leap. And, but this was addressed in tonight's meeting, and it is being answered and worked on.
I've already answered him, so we're actually just waiting for his response now.
Okay. Department of Public Safety. Oh, this is a report from our
State police.
state police. And this is their bill. And this is a report. Their bill is $1,088.06. And it's over a long-term contract for Newfane. Personal service for the dates worked from March 19th through April 15th. And generally, I like to read what work they've done in that period of time. And there were 5 officers who basically, not sure, it doesn't really tell me what they've done.
Well, we only contract with them for traffic enforcement, so
Okay,
you can assume that was traffic enforcement.
all right. So that's that. I think I should ask for a little bit more information in their reports,
We
but
didn't really ask for traffic enforcement from them, we wanted them to ride the roads.
Yeah,
We didn't want them out here just holding traffic stops.
yeah.
Right.
Because that was the problem with the sheriffs, that's all they did, they went right
All
around
they
the back
would do.
roads and,
It would
but
be
you
nice
do
if
see the
they-
state police on the back roads.
You do.
They
Yep.
do. But it would be nice if they at least pulled some people over so that the town could get some income. because-
right, I have had people say, what
It
do the
does help.
state police do? We never see them. So,
Oh, somebody said the other day, you got 4 guys on River Road.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem money.
Oh, really?
You might not have fined them, but we stopped and let them know they weren't supposed to be doing that.
well, that's good. I like to hear that they're out there doing something. All right, that's it for correspondence.
Oh. We still have one letter from Melissa Brown, the treasurer.
Okay.
During my training at the VMCTA, I learned that there needs to be a motion made by the select board authorizing me to sign checks for payroll on the off weeks when that you are not in to sign checks prior to their release. I also need a motion made authorizing me to sign and send a check out periodically when I feel necessary to do so prior to the select board meeting. Once these motions are made, I will need copies of the minutes to keep in a folder for the auditor and insurance company to see if they need to. I'm looking to get approval from NEMRC to come down for an office visit on 2 separate occasions. The first reason is to have NEMRC assist in redoing the chart of accounts. They want to charge us between $600 or $1,300 to revise that. However, most of the work we could do ourselves, and it would be cheaper. I'm planning on redoing them with the help of Shannon to improve the list and keep the cost down. I will need MERC's help in the final changes to input the chart of accounts, which will require them to come down at the end of May. However, we will not start using the chart of accounts until the new fiscal year. I will also need MERC's year-end closing, so NERC would need to come back in July once again. I'm hoping to get as much done as possible so the cost will be kept to a minimum. So we have 3 motions that she needs for us to make.
Yes, please.
Okay, well, I don't remember the exact motion that she's asking, and since you have the paper in front of you,
I guess, well, let's get the motions out first. We need a motion made by the select board authorizing Melissa Brown to sign payroll checks on the off weeks that we are not in to sign those checks prior to their release. So move.
second. Okay, any discussion on that? All right, all those in favor of allowing Melissa to come in when we're not available to sign payroll checks and to sign them?
No, not sign the checks. You guys don't sign the checks.
Yeah,
Well,
right, she
What
says.
she wants is authorization to send checks in between pay orders, is what.
No, this first one is just for payroll.
Or payroll.
Yeah, this is just,
Well,
the
yeah,
others
it's
will be
still-
another motion.
It's still in between pay
Yeah.
orders though, is what she's saying. So that we can get paid every week, even though there are not meetings every week.
Mhm.
She
Okay.
technically needs a motion.
All right, so we had
Made a motion.
We had a motion, it was seconded. All those in favor, or do we have any discussion on that? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries unanimously.
Okay, second motion is authorizing Melissa Brown to sign and send a check out periodically when she feels necessary to do so prior to the select board meeting. So moved, so we can get it out for discussion.
Okay, second.
Okay? Was this a previous practice?
Yes, it's fairly common with especially health insurance, which
Mhm.
always seems to be due when there are no meetings. And we've had our insurance get canceled before because we had to
Right.
wait for a pay order.
It was canceled last year, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So in those instances, she as treasurer feels that it's important to get the check out, and this motion would allow
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that Melissa has the ability to get a check out when she feels necessary, even though we do not meet to be able to sign the pay orders. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
No one opposes it, it passes unanimously.
Does the last part need a motion?
Actually, you don't need those
Yeah.
anymore because they
You
have.
guys have already done it?
We're all done.
So that's it? Okay, that's time for pay orders. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.